I cannot fathom the fact that Nintendo Switch has been out for 1 year. This console from the beginning has been bringing out nothing but great first and second party exclusive games. Great games such as Zelda, Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Mario Odyssey, and to top it all off, at the end of 2017, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The Switch has been a beast of a console, selling well over 10 million units since its early March release in 2017. And now the time has come. It's been 1 year since the release of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game that swept Game of the Year across the world and is now considered the best Zelda game ever made. With all the hype dying down and the game fresh on everyone's mind, does Breath of the Wild hold up? Before we start the review, allow me to give everyone a quick retrospective. The year is 2011. You're in middle school. Nintendo shows off an amazing Zelda tech demo for the Nintendo Wii U. The demo shows Link fighting a realistic armored Goma. The camera spins and turns around and shows off destructible environments around Link. It was very akin to the Space World 2001 demo, showing off Link fighting Ganondorf in a gritty, realistic environment. But that led to some backlash during the reveal of the Wind Waker cartoony art style back in the GameCube era. Something similar will happen here with the 2011 tech demo and the reveal of Breath of the Wild in 2014. The game was described as a giant open world similar to the first Legend of Zelda on the NES. After a brief talk, it showed off a quick bit of gameplay. It had Link riding on a horseback, dashing and darting through the fields and forests, escaping a ginormous guardian. And that single trailer, which set the Nintendo world on fire, and kept us waiting for more and more news, and Nintendo kept taunting and teasing us, game trailer here, bits of gameplay here, bits of story here and there, but nothing would prepare us for the first announcement of the Nintendo Switch. October 20th, 2016, the world had their first look at the Nintendo Switch. It showed off the games from Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, and of course, Breath of the Wild. This game captivated and memorized fans that we finally had a console open world Zelda game on the go at the same time. As you could see, fans were rabid. The hype was through the roof, eventually leading up to the final bit of gameplay and Breath of the Wild news Nintendo would prepare. January 13th, 2017, Nintendo had a live press conference showing off exactly what the Switch could do and when the Switch would be released. But at the end of all the hype, the Shibagami announcements, your brand new IPs such as ARMS being announced, we had one final Breath of the Wild trailer to end the live performance.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon, a primal evil that has endured over the ages. I've done up until now, it was all for nothing. Open your eyes.
I will not lie, this trailer moved me to tears. The cracking of Zelda's voice as she dives into Link's arms, a beautiful yet broken Hyrule, the grand music building and swelling, leading to a calm of the storm. After all the hype dies down, the release date was shown and Breath of the Wild was confirmed to be a launch game for the Nintendo Switch. My hype was through the roof, my mind was exploded. An open world Zelda game on the go? What's the game store going to be like? Will the game even play well? All of this and more was going to be answered March 3rd. And that brings us to our recent point. Does the game still hold up? Breath of the Wild was blissful upon my first hours. I woke up from the Shrine of Resurrection and instantly wanted to travel all throughout Hyrule. And traveling I did. I searched all around the Great Plateau looking for unique weapons and enemies to fight. My first experience with the game was wonderful. The controls were simply amazing, tight and responsive, and each weapon felt hefty and had a rhythm for each swing. You couldn't run into the combat just mashing your attack button. You had to practice dancing and dodging with your opponent like it was a fencing match. Each fight felt unique and diverse. This is thanks to the beautifully crafted AI. Enemies react with Link's fighting style, and if a bomb is thrown towards enemies, you will see enemies kick it away from their troops. Enemies will get hit by electricity, dropping their weapons, and enemies will scramble to pick up swords and shields and even rocks to use against Link during both electricity and when camps are alerted. This dynamic system made each battle a bit random and very fun. Taking multiple approaches to take down enemies is key. Shall I sneak back and using my bow and arrow to distract and pick off camps, or shall I go in swinging and using every ounce of my force, praying to the goddess of Hyrule I can make it out alive? This all leads to an interactive and fun experience, especially during harder trials, and since combat is a core focus of Breath of the Wild, it's honestly astounding the variety of locations each fight will take place in, from dark, hot deserts during midnight to chilly mountaintops. This blends into my next point, of course, which are the weapons. The game has 5 main weapon types: one-hand swords, two-handed swords, spears, axes, and bows. Each weapon also has elemental types and attributes that make weapons feel unique. These elements consist of fire, ice, and electricity, and weapons can also give off attributes like raising attack up, and well, that's about all they can do. Weapons aren't the only thing that give Link attributes though. Armor pieces can give resistance to certain elements, boost attacks and defenses for Link, and most importantly, make Link look cool. On top of armor pieces helping Link out, you have recipes you can cook that can give temporary stamina, temporary hearts, and of course, once again, elemental resistance. The reason why this game is so rewarding is simple. Every weapon, armor piece, and recipe cooked is thanks to your own exploration. No weapon, other than the Master Sword of course, is given or able to be bought. Gaining items takes exploring shrines, finding caverns, rushing through the forest, slaving at the hot desert, grinding through the chilly mountains, sailing the vast sea, and taking on extremely tough monsters. On top of that, gaining hearts aren't just beating a couple of bosses here and there. They take exploring for shrines and things of that nature, and expanding inventory space cost Kokoro seeds. Each area gives a unique set of materials, allowing you to cook and craft all in an effort to improve Link. This world feels truly open due to the way Hyrule feels connected and vast. The game just feels so open and rewards the player every step of the way. It also helps guide the player during certain areas. For example, we tried to go to Death Mountain, but it's way too hot, but upon talking to passerby NPCs around the area, they mention a fireproof elixir can be sold nearby. Now you have a mini objective you can find during your own time to further your own gameplay and exploration. The game is just a satisfying experience through and through. On top of the tight open world and of course the amazing combat, Breath of the Wild shrines offer a great experience, and some can consist of pretty tough puzzles requiring the usage of all your acquired runes, while others are going to be combat trials of varying levels and difficulty. Each shrine has a chest to gain as a semi-bonus objective that always requires some extra brain power and hard work. But then there's some shrines that are just walk in, grab the chest, and walk out. You won't encounter too many of these, but they are most definitely here. I consider them a little bit of a break from the harder bit of gameplay, but to each their own. On top of shrines and their encounters, you have open world oriented puzzles thanks to the Kokoro seeds. These puzzles consist of standing on logs and shooting down certain targets, and exploring area to pick up rocks and move things around to gain a Kokoro seed. These seeds can grant inventory expansion, as I stated, and once again this calls into our theme of exploration equals great reward. All of this ties in to a nice little bow, and it's why Zelda's gameplay is perfect. It does everything right to reward the player, from climbing tall structures in order to gain a part of your map on your Sheikah slate, to finding shrines and Kokoro seeds scattered all over the land. But it's not just gameplay that shakes up Breath of the Wild from the rest, it's the graphics. The game may run at 30 FPS, but that doesn't hold back the beautiful watercolor art style. Breath of the Wild feels like a watercolor come to life. The grass is a vibrant, lush green with the sun is beating down on the ground below, but becomes a dull, darker shade that reflects the moonlight as it reaches nighttime. The sun sets beautifully as Link rests upon a mountaintop, giving a lovely, peaceful vibe after a hard day's work. Midnight feels truly dark and terrifying as you stroll through the dangerous forest, relying on a dimly lit moonlight through the dense forest. The one thing in Breath of the Wild that always floors me is the lighting and the way chilly mountains are handled when it snows in game. A fierce blizzard rolls in, making Link shiver and blush, and for some reason I get chills across my back as I take strides to continue on with my quest. It's such a gorgeous experience. The game is simply exquisite in the way the graphics and art style are handled. All of this, and I haven't even touched the story. And you know what? That's similar to Breath of the Wild. You get so wrapped up in the gameplay loop and side quests, I personally forgot about tracking down all the memories to expand the story. Once again proving that the story is not the focal point of Breath of the Wild. The story is given through memories scattered around the world in a bright, whitish glowing light, and you get the location to track down these memories about 3 to 4 hours of the game. Each memory gives a piece of story leading up to how the champions of Hyrule were formed and ready to fight Calamity Ganon. It's a somber sight knowing right off the bat all the champions were killed off, each leaving one member of their family behind. As you work with their family members and former friends, you will unlock a final memory at the end of a Divine Beast challenge, which gives you the power of a Divine Beast to help Link and giving that former champion a peace of mind. The story is very reliant on the player putting puzzle pieces together and talking to many NPCs to get the full picture. For now, I'll lay off the story and revisit another time to avoid spoilers, but with the gameplay, graphics, and story out of the way, let's move on to the big question. Does Breath of the Wild hold up 1 year later? Yes, it does. It single-handedly reinvented the open world genre. Its gameplay is fully interactive and hooks the player in right from the start. The music hits a perfect mix of ambience as you travel through villages and expansive open fields, which later turns away from a calm piece into a mysterious, aggressive piece as guardians and bokoblins sneak up on you. Breath of the Wild captures everything I wanted in a Zelda game, but in an open world experience. Not to mention the fact this game is just jammed pack with so much content, and they add even more through the beauty of DLC packs 1 and 2, all for $20. A challenging Master Trials which strips you of your weapons, requiring Link to conquer trials tactically, gaining new weapons and sneaking around the area, and of course the Master Quest which turns the difficulty dial up to 100. And the second DLC pack requires a brand new set of shrines and a brand new set of story cutscenes, of course offering a brand new rune on top of all of that, that being the Master Cycle. Breath of the Wild is simply a masterpiece. It's just a huge time sink of a game to put your life into, and it's definitely worth every hour I've spent. I have poured so many hours in this game and not a single one has gone just lost. I love everything about it. I love its art style, its gameplay, its loop, the way that Hyrule is so expansive, the side quest and the NPC's interaction, and the fact that it just feels like an entirely unique experience from most open world games out there. Once again, Breath of the Wild is simply a masterpiece. It's kind of funny. Breath of the Wild is simply the best open world game I've ever played. Kind of like how the Switch is the best console I've ever owned. It's a console that's handheld and brings the same quality everywhere you go. It's a console that's easy to share during parties with friends due to the single Joy-Cons controls. The Switch has a wonderful AAA and indie library. And guess what? It's also a masterpiece. My name's Young Falcon, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. And happy birthday, Tiny Pal. The Switch is definitely worth it.